Hi and welcome to Worldwide Culinary Apprentice online cooking school. My name is Chef Roger and I'm about to show you how we make some beautiful spinach gnocchi with a goat cheese sauce and a sprinkle of parmesan cheese. A former student of me contacted me this morning and asked about the recipe. Chef, I'm having a little bit problem. I'm making those spinach gnocchi, but they are a little watery, a little soggy. Well, the thing while making that recipe is you want to make sure that your spinach, after you cook them, they could be sauteed or just blanched in some salted water. You want to make sure that you're going to squeeze the moisture out of them very well. Very important. Then you want to chop them up very finely. Me, I have my spinach here, and I just put them through the food processor and process them till they're very fine. So they incorporate themselves into the dough easily like that, and they're not going to release water into that dough, which is very important. The dough I'm talking about, and we're going to be making in a moment, it's a pâte à choux. So I made pâte à choux prior into my, and you have the video into my playlist. That one is very similar, but instead of using water, I'm using milk into it, so it's a little richer and there's a little bit more of a binding to it too. I'm also going to make my goat cheese sauce, with the base for it is a bechamel sauce. So bechamel sauce also, you can find that into my playlist under the sauce. And here I'm going to add some goat cheese to that sauce that I warm up prior here. So I'm putting my goat cheese in. I'm going to let that melt, keep that aside till I'm ready with my gnocchi. It's going to be nice and beautiful, very tasty. You want to use a nice goat cheese, of course. A little pepper. No salt, because I have salt. I had already salt into my bechamel, and the goat cheese is a little salted on itself. So I'm going to put that aside, and by the time I need it, the goat cheese should then melt into it. So for that pâte à choux that I was talking about, I'm going to, my pan here. Here I have my milk and butter. I'm going to add salt and pepper. If you want to add a little bit of cayenne into it, or other spices, nutmeg, this is fine. Me, I have a lot of seasoning into my spinach. I already have some nutmeg in it and seasoning, so I'm fine here. I don't need to add more into my pâte à choux. I'm going to wait for it to come to a boil, and I'm going to incorporate to it my flour. We're going to do what we call dessécher. And then into that I will add some eggs. So the eggs, when we add them, you know, I want to have a certain consistency. I have 2 eggs here, but I may add a little bit more depending on the consistency that I have. I don't want a pâte à choux that is too thin, because again I'm adding spinach to it. And if it's too thin with the spinach, I say there's no more moisture into it, but there's still a little bit of moisture because, you know, it's a vegetable, it's mostly water. So I just want to make sure that the pâte à choux is not too runny. And it's very important. It's better for it to be on the thicker side than the thinner side. When your meal comes to a simmer, lower the heat if the butter is not melted, so you don't burn the milk, and it's very important. And you want to wait before you add your flour that the butter is completely melted into the liquid here. Okay, it's melted. I'm going to add the flour, stir that in, and again this is what we call here, what I'm going to do is dessécher, is to remove the extra moisture from that dough. Stir it very well, and I know it's ready when it comes all together as one big mass. Now you don't want to do that too long also, because if you cook it too much, the butter will come out of the dough. So you form one mass. This is good. I'm going to remove that. put that in my bowl that I had earlier. And to that now I'm going to add my eggs. So the eggs, you add them one at a time. It's easier to incorporate like that. If you want more detail on the pâte à choux, again go into my playlist under the pastry dough part, and you will find the pâte à choux recipe, and I give a lot of details about it in it if you want more details. Okay, come together. I'm going to add my second egg. Also know that on our Facebook page, on Worldwide Culinary Apprentice Facebook page, you have a lot of description of all the recipe I'm doing here on the video. So, you know, it could be details or information about different products. So, you know, make sure you go check it out. And you hang out with us on that Facebook page. I also have an Android application for the one of you who have Android phones, and the iPad application is coming very soon, so look for it on my homepage in YouTube, so you have the links for them. They're free, you know, it's nice, have that in the palm of your hand. So I'm looking at it now, and I have a nice dough. Oopsie. Make what we call the hook here. That's good. So I'm going to add my spinach to that. Okay, that looks fine. Yeah, that should be fine. I'm going to put that into a pastry bag. If you want to use a pastry tip, you could. I don't need one here. I'll just show you. I'm going to show you a little trick after, but prevent me to get a pastry tip. If you want to put one, you want to put a medium-sized one, huh? Everything in. I'm going to bring some water to a simmer, and then I will poach them. So it's time now to poach my gnocchi. And this is what I'm going to do here. I have a piece of string. I'm going to tie it on my pan this way, yep, both way here. That's going to help me to cut my gnocchi directly into the water. Of course, salted water, huh? Always. I'm going to wait for that to come to, so that's always coming to a simmer here. Again, when it comes to a simmer, and if you watch my other video on gnocchis, because I have other video on gnocchi, potato gnocchi, a stuffed gnocchi, a sauté gnocchi with prosciutto, you see that the water comes to a simmer, we lower it so there's not too much movement, so we don't damage our gnocchi. This is very important too. So the water is coming to a simmer. I can see all those little bubbles in the bottom. That's the sign it's ready. I'm going to poach the gnocchi. So I'm going to go this way. I press and I cut the gnocchi like that, and they're just going to drip into the water. This is how you poach your gnocchi. So originally that dish was called gnocchi à la Parisienne. It's very similar to that, but there's not the spinach in the dough and there's not the goat cheese in the sauce. But it will be exactly the same technique, I would say, for those gnocchi à la Parisienne. And now I'm going to let those cook a minute after they come up to the top here. A minute, 30 seconds to a minute. I will feel them actually to see. It's still a little soft here. I need to let them cook till they bounce back as I push on them. I'm going to drain them after on that paper towel, and then I'll be ready to plate them. They actually take a little longer than the original one because of the spinach inside. It's a little moist, so we want to make sure they're nice and firm. When they're ready, I'll put them into my little dish here. First I'm going to put some sauce into the dish, then disperse my gnocchi nicely on it. Drizzle of my parmesan cheese, and I'm going to bake them in the oven till I get a nice coloration here. And also what will happen in the oven is they're going to puff a little bit. There is moisture and eggs into that dough, and as you bake them, they develop volume, which makes them very, very light. It's a beautiful thing. Okay, they're ready. I'm going to take them out. Oh yes. See, I press on it, it bounces back. That's good. To warm up my bechamel here. Okay, turn this off. I'm going to put a little bit here into the bottom of the pan. And I'm going to add my gnocchi like that. One more. There's room for one more. There's room for two more. A little bit more sauce on top of that. You want to cover them with sauce, if not, they're going to dry also as you bake them, so you don't want that to happen. I top it here to make sure the sauce goes everywhere. Sprinkle of the parmesan cheese on top, and that's going to go under my broiler. 3 to 5 minutes, they should be ready. Here they are, beautiful gnocchi, little sprinkle over on top of that, and we have it. Spinach gnocchi with a goat cheese sauce and a sprinkle of parmesan cheese. Thank you for watching, and I see you next class. Bye bye.